The next one in our discussion is Elon Musk. I'm super pro Ukraine, but relentless escalation is very risky for Ukraine and the world. Once again, not a single sane person should be saying that. Why? Because how is that risky for Ukraine and the world? Ukraine has already lost a big portion of their territory with Crimea annexation. Now they've lost quite a big part of Zaporizhia region, of the Donetsk region once again. They're trying to liberate, obviously, their territory. Kherson was obviously liberated not that long ago, and now we're going to talk about it with potential counteroffensive operation that will probably be incoming quite soon with the we're gonna talk about the tanks and things like that just in a second. But they will liberate Ukrainians. Obviously, will liberate more of their territory. Will free it from the fucking occupants. And how exactly is that risky for Ukraine? What is the worst thing Putin can do now? He's already obliterated fucking, and I'll show you the pictures. I feel like I've got few obliterated towns, villages, a lot of them. They're fucking striking cities all the time, every week at least, like giant sort of massive explosions, like the one in Dnipro, which we will talk about it. What's the worst that they can do? Like I said before, he's gonna use nukes? No, he's not gonna, because I feel like even his Putin's generals will tell him that it will solve nothing really on the battlefield, because tactical nuclear weapon doesn't really solve anything. It's not fucking Hiroshima, Nagasaki, or anything like that anymore. Because first of all, the tactical nuclear weapons would be way smaller in their scale. They wouldn't obliterate 100,000 fucking people. And Putin is not completely out of his mind to do that. So just using nuclear will solve nothing and will bring shit ton more problems. Because then I feel like, while Jordan Peterson doesn't think that, I feel like then, even though none of the fucking Western nations wants to do that, to actually send their troops and actually go to full-blown war with Russia. Nobody wants to do that, because everybody values their own citizens, their own people. And I don't feel like a lot of the people in the West actually want to go, obviously, to war, yet another war, because a lot of the people kind of feel like it's not their conflict. It's sort of like, who the fuck knows what country, whatever, in some fucking Russia region, ex-USSR region, it's their fucking shit, their problem. A lot of people are like that. But anyway, long story short, like, there will be no like extra risk for Ukraine, no extra risk for the world either, because as we've seen, Putin doesn't do anything besides Ukraine. He doesn't like fire missiles at Poland or Germany or anything like that. So yeah, because he understands. Like, it's just so bad that people don't like really understand sort of the culture of like growing up in Russia, especially like if you're growing up in kind of a rougher neighborhood. And so you don't understand this concept of gopnik. Is this like fucking those guys, those people who like to fight, but almost always they pick a fight with a weaker opponent. And if by some fucking random chance they picked a wrong opponent, and that opponent beat them up, it's not that they're gonna fucking try to escalate more and more and more. They will know their place. And Putin is this gopnik. He's literally gopnik from fucking St. Petersburg. He's not some great fucking amazing charismatic leader, right? He's not fucking Hitler, for fuck's sake. Even like, this is an awful comparison. But he isn't doing some amazing speeches or anything like that. He's not like, I don't know, doing some like basically gathering like millions of people with his ideas, and he's like he's got fucking tons of speechwriters, all the fucking TV propaganda who are doing the actual job for him. He is just sitting in his fucking bunker now, scared shitless, and thinks like, what in the fuck have I done? Because I thought it would be like a fucking 3 to 10 days operation, and I will be like the fucking second time victorious, and everything will be amazing for me. And now he sits and thinks like, what should I do? And you know what's the fucking amazing thing? He doesn't want to do anything because he understands that he can just sit and wait. As long as like he has his like repressive apparatus inside of Russia, his KGBs, his fucking police, his Rosgvardia, all of those cunts, as long as he's got them, and as long as he's got some money to pay them, he's safe. So he can just sit and wait and do nothing really. And this is exactly what he's doing. And he kind of banks on the fact that something will change. Something will change in the West, like some leaders will get like re-elected, whatever, some rhetoric will change, people will get tired of supporting Ukraine. But this is exactly why you should never get tired of supporting the Ukraine. Because Russia is not like this unbeatable evil, and Putler is not this unbeatable evil that he made believe people like Elon Musk, like fucking Jordan Peterson, like a lot of people in the West. He's not. He's fucking scared gopnik from fucking St. Petersburg. He's a nobody. He's a piece of shit. He's not some strong, like I'm saying, moral leader or just in general strong person. He's not. He's a scared piece of shit. No one should be scared of him. No one. Yes, he's got his whole fucking, mafia and all this fucking like I'm saying, KGB agents and all the fucking cunts who can poison people in other countries, can kill people in other countries. Yes, all of that is true. But he's not as powerful as people kind of say he is. So when Elon Musk or other like notable big people are saying about things like that, like, and 7 million people saw that this fucking shit, this is not relentless escalation. This is helping a sovereign nation to defend themselves. Ukraine doesn't fight on the territory of Russia, doesn't want to capture any territory of Russia. All Ukraine wants is to free their own territory, create basically good air defense system that no fucking rockets will penetrate that defense system anymore, and no Ukrainian citizens would die anymore. How can people like Peterson and Musk just forget about the basic, like at the most basic level? Ukrainian people want nothing to do with Russia. All they want is to cooperate with Europe, be like a good European country, travel there, trade with them, be like a decent basically addition to a European Union, or like just in general to Europe, because Russia is not Europe, even though geographically it is sort of in Europe, right? The mindset is not about Europe whatsoever. It's still this expansionism, the fucking war, imperialist fucking mindset. Unfortunately, of a lot of Russians as well, but that is because of the propaganda. Because people are fucking, a lot of them, fucking dumb and gullible. Whatever shit they've been fed through the TV for the past 20 years, that they will believe. Switch the fucking narrative, and then fucking in the next 2 years, 5 years, I can bet my fucking ass off on that you can change, if you give me access basically to Russian state fucking TV, media, all of this kind of garbage, and let me run the narratives. I can turn the fucking Russian citizens into greatest European lovers and American lovers in like 5 years top. Because that's how propaganda works. If you repeat the same shit all the time, and if you ban all the other alternatives, which is right now the reality of Russia, they cannot read without going through VPNs and things like that. BBC, Deutsche Welle, freaking like Medusa, even basically they don't have access to the good information. And I'm not talking about like opposition people. I'm just talking about regular people who came from the job, press turn on TV, press number 1 on the fucking on their remote controls, and just watch whatever is there. And what is there is fucking garbage propaganda, hateful speech all the time, aimed against Ukrainians, basically, and the West. If I can control that for 5 years, I'm telling you, I can fucking grow the population of, like I'm saying, lovers of democracy, freedom, and everything in this fucking world, everything good in this world. So, yeah. Anyway, I went on a fucking rant. Let's continue. Let's continue because, again, apparently this episode is gonna be all about like Western people saying garbage, fucking despicable garbage.